This is the Geely Azkarra. It is Geely's newest crossover. I was quite impressed with the Geely Coolray, so I had high expectations for the Geely Azkarra. Does it live up to the hype? Let's find out. The Azkarra is larger than the Coolray. It's still a 5-seater though, but each passenger gets a bit more shoulder room and a bit more legroom. It is also more expensive than the Coolray. In terms of pricing, it competes with the lower end variants of the CX-30 and the RAV4. Here in the Philippines, we'll get two variants. The cheaper variant, the Azkarra Premium, sells for 1.43 million pesos. The top of the line variant is a hybrid and it sells for 1.59 million pesos. That puts it within the reach of those shopping for a top of the line Kona or a top of the line Kia Seltos. Without question, the Azkarra beats the top of the line Kona and the top of the line Seltos in terms of refinement and features. Exterior. While the Coolray looks young and sporty, the Azkarra seems to appeal to a more mature demographic. It has more conservative lines. Gone is the aggressive front splitter of the Coolray, and instead you get this very subtle lip. The rear diffuser of the Coolray has been replaced with an aluminum skid plate. And instead of quad exhaust tips, we get dual exhaust tips finished in aluminum. The front end of the Azkarra looks more intricately sculpted than the front of the Coolray. I like the new implementation of the expanding Cosmos grille. I think it looks better than the one on the Coolray. On the Coolray, it looks recessed and you can barely see the details because everything is blacked out. It almost looks like empty space on the Coolray, but on the Azkarra, it is the centerpiece of the design. It is bigger and it projects forward, giving it a more three-dimensional look. The Azkarra also looks beefier than the Coolray. Its broad face, short overhangs, high roofline, and meaty tires give it a more traditional look. Exterior design is always a matter of taste, so it's always subjective. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the Azkarra is a pretty handsome looking crossover. Okay, so this is the interior of the Azkarra. Like on the Coolray, you have plenty of aluminum touches here. This is aluminum, and I think it uses the same door opener as the Coolray. And this is leather covered. This is soft padded, but it doesn't look like leather. This is also aluminum, and then over here you have leather. You have a panoramic sunroof. So the steering wheel looks like the one on the Coolray. You also have a flat bottom. It is leather covered with brown stitching, and you have this aluminum accent over here. Yes, it's actual aluminum. It could be plastic. Now on the center console you have this electronic shifter, similar to what you'd find on the Coolray. This is your 360 camera button. You have an electronic parking brake with auto hold. And this is your dial for your different drive modes. Hill start assist, traction control. You have these handlebars right here. Over here you have two cup holders, but one of them is pretty small. Over here is, oh look at it, it's dampened. Like on the Coolray. This is one of the deepest compartments that I've seen on a car. You have a digital instrument cluster. These are your aircon buttons. I wish it had knobs instead of these buttons. Yeah, you have this matte black finish on the aircon vents. And the seats are leather. They feel pretty good and they have good bolstering. The driver's side seat is power adjustable, while the passenger seat is manually adjustable. Dampened glove box. Yeah, so overall, it's a pretty upmarket looking interior. But unlike the Coolray, the Azkarra is selling at a higher price, and it's going up against the likes of the CX-30 and the RAV4. I would say it looks better than the interior of the RAV4, but the CX-30 has a much better looking interior. So let's check out the back seat. Okay, so here at the back you have aircon vents, finally. The Coolray does not have aircon vents. And then you have two USB ports over here. You have map pockets. Legroom is pretty good, and the headroom is also pretty decent. I have about this much headroom. I would say that's about 2 inches, and I'm 5'8". The seats are also leather, of course, and you have a center armrest with 2 cup holders. The Azkarra has one of the biggest infotainment screens in the market. It has a 12.3-inch touchscreen. It has HD resolution. It is nice to look at, but its glossy finish makes it prone to reflections. Like the Coolray, the Azkarra also has a 360 camera. The Azkarra doesn't have the Coolray's auto parking feature. So far, that's the only high-tech feature on the Coolray that's missing on the Azkarra. The Azkarra has wireless charging. It has a panoramic sunroof. It has power adjustable seats. Also, the seats on the Azkarra are covered in Nappa leather. That's the same kind of leather that BMW uses on their 5 Series sedans. For comparison, the Geely Coolray only has faux leather seats. The Azkarra has several drive modes. It has Comfort, it has Eco, it has Sport, and because this is a 4-wheel drive model, it also has an off-road mode. What sets the Azkarra apart from other crossovers and SUVs that are selling for less than $2 million is that it has a hybrid powertrain. You probably know how hybrids work, but in case you don't, basically hybrids are powered by both a gasoline engine and electric motors. It may have electric motors, but you don't need to charge any batteries. The batteries will charge while you're driving the car or while you're slowing down. Since your gasoline engine isn't always running, That means that you get better fuel efficiency and lower emissions. Geely calls it a mild hybrid. That means that the Azkarra only gets moderate assistance from the electric motor. The motor only adds 13 horsepower and 45 Newton meters of torque. The gasoline engine is the same as the one on the Coolray, which is a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. All in all, the Azkarra has 190 horsepower and 300 Newton meters of torque. Those numbers are comparable and even higher than a lot of diesel PPVs. Competition. CX-30. I reviewed the CX-30 a couple of months ago, and it was also a very impressive vehicle. In terms of interior quality, I'd say it's about on par with the Azkarra. It is expensive though. The top of the line variant sells for 1.8 million pesos. It is also a lot smaller than the Azkarra, and it doesn't have the Azkarra's hybrid powertrain. RAV4. The Azkarra's interior looks better than the RAV4. The Azkarra is also more spacious and it has more features, so I'd give this one to the Azkarra. Chery Tiggo 8. I have yet to review the Chery Tiggo 8, but among the crossovers available locally, I think the Tiggo might be its biggest competition. Anyway, I'll do a full review of the Tiggo 8 soon, so watch out for that. While under 1.2 million peso crossovers like the Geely Coolray and the MG-ZS are selling pretty well here in the Philippines, those that sell for over 1.5 million like the CX-30 and the RAV4 are not as common on our roads. At this price bracket, they're in competition with 7-seater diesel PPVs like the Fortuner, the Montero, and the MUX, which are very popular here in the Philippines. Aside from the fact that they can seat more people, diesel PPVs are also popular because their diesel engines are more fuel efficient than gasoline engines. The ace of the Azkarra is that it has a hybrid powertrain, so it's more fuel efficient than a lot of its competitors. It's also a lot more refined and luxurious than any of the diesel PPVs for sale here. I can think of a number of reasons why one would choose a base model Montero or a Fortuner over the Azkarra. But if you want the refinement of a gasoline engine without the high fuel cost, and if you want an interior that is more luxurious than anything worth under 1.7 million, then the Azkarra might be worth a look.